Hey, hi, Muchin. We're not able to hear you.
I think he's mute.
Sorry, guys, I was on mute. So,
Yeah.
thanks for reminding. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you all have practiced, you know, property file reading and Excel readings. Should be very comfortable with using data provider. Uh, Now, today I have to cover something related to the weights, which I have not spoken for a very long time. So yeah, so whatever the application we have taking, these are very small applications, and the weighting strategy might not be really relevant. Okay, so each of the front end application can be developed by different technologies. Okay, some really advanced websites are being created by React, Angular, and other frameworks inside this, right? So these Angular or React have their own properties, right? What happens whenever you are trying to load a page? Okay, so the particular section alone will load. Okay, so the entire page will not get refreshed. So in those cases you might have to wait for the elements. Okay, this is a very simple website, and there is no chance that you get some failure on the web element, or some stale element reference exception. But in real time it's not the case. Okay, you might be using Angular or React or Material UI from React. So they may use different frameworks to create the front end. In those cases you can handle all the websites with the proper weights. Okay, just keep it in mind, don't worry. Whatever the technology they use to develop a website, that doesn't matter. Selenium and Java can automate all of them, if as long as it is a website. Okay, as long as a web application, it can be automated using Selenium, Java. Okay, only thing is we need to have proper weighting strategy. Okay, so how we are going to wait for the element is really important. Okay, there are two kinds of weight. Okay, we have used only one weight so far, that is Thread.sleep. Okay, this Thread.sleep is not really recommended. Can anyone tell why Thread.sleep is not recommended?
Because Muthan, it will unnecessarily wait for the desired time, right? Whatever we mentioned, 3 seconds or 5 seconds.
Okay,
So
Yeah,
yeah, that's I think.
actually, it will pause your execution, application execution for like whatever number of time you give it. So it will completely stop the execution for that number of time.
y- yeah, yeah. So the thing is, if you give three seconds, okay, or let's say I'm giving 10 seconds here. Okay, so you are giving 10 seconds because sometimes the element is found in 3 seconds, sometimes it is taking 7 seconds, sometimes it is taking 5 seconds. So you are not sure how much time the element is taking before you proceed to click on that particular element. Let's assume this username is taking this much time. Okay, you are giving 10 seconds as a maximum time. Okay, because you cannot estimate or predict based on your internet speed, it varies. So what you are doing is you are giving a maximum time. After giving some buffer and all that, you are giving maximum time of 10 seconds. Now if when you run the test, this element is found in 2 seconds. Let's assume it is found in 2 seconds. Even then it will wait for another 8 seconds to perform this operation. So you are losing out almost 8 seconds in your execution. Okay, so that's the problem, right? So the your whole program stops just for waiting for an element. Okay, and you are not sure even this 10 seconds will work. Sometimes the internet speed is very slow and it takes 15 seconds and it failed. Okay, so you cannot predict the maximum time exactly. Okay, and then second problem is, uh, even though the element is found before the maximum wait time, it will still wait for the maximum time, so you are losing out some time when the element is found earlier. So this is a problem with this Thread.sleep. Okay, now how can we avoid this? So this Thread.sleep is coming from Java. This is not given by Selenium, guys. This is a wait command from Java. So it will hold your whole thread execution process itself. But there are weights that is coming from Selenium. Okay, one weight is called as implicit weight, which will be applicable for all the elements. Okay, for example, after you maximize the window, maybe after you creating the Chrome, you can just tell driver dot manage dot wait dot implicitly manage dot timeouts, I think. Okay, timeouts dot implicitly wait. Okay, how long you want to wait? Maybe you want to wait for 10 seconds. And what is the time unit? You need to tell time unit dot seconds. Okay, what we are telling, hey driver, okay, whatever Chrome browser we have launched, okay, I'm going to manage its timeout. Okay, when it should get timeout, it should have a implicit wait of maximum time of 10 seconds, 10, and the unit is 10 seconds. Okay, you can also mention 10,000, and this one is time units dot milliseconds, microseconds, milliseconds, whatever you want to give, you can give. But it's better we all speak in the terms of seconds, so that it's easily understandable by everyone. Okay, good. So now this gets applicable to all the elements in the coming, wherever you are calling driver dot find element, this will be applicable. So it will be automatically called this, calling, we call, calling this implicit wait. Okay, so whenever this find element is called, okay, until the whatever the browser you opened getting closed. So this is declare once, use the whole program. Okay, you don't have to again declare it again and again in each lines. Okay, that doesn't really matter. You declare once, every time you call driver dot find element, this will get applicable. Okay, but the problem is, you know we don't need this at all. And the second one is, not normally we will call the find element. There are strategies. How many times I will tell you guys, your voice not muting? Okay, it's okay. So yeah, so um this implicit wait will be applicable for all the elements. Okay, and then you know you declare it once and use it everywhere. So the problem is, not really we want all the time to wait for an element. Sometimes only we want to wait for an element. Okay, and then most importantly, not all the elements will cause issues. Only one or two elements will be causing the issues. Okay, this doesn't have any extra functionality. Okay, it will simply wait for the element to be present in the DOM. It doesn't check for whether the element is clickable, whether it is checkable, whether it is interactable, and all that. Okay, so this will only check for presence of element in the DOM, presence of element in the DOM. When I mean DOM, if I open any browser, let's say, it will check whether the whatever the strategy you mentioned, driver dot find element, it will check whether this is in the DOM. Okay, it wasn't sure whether this button is clickable, it is disabled, and all that. Okay, it doesn't really matter. Okay, for it. Good. So again, so this is the problem with the implicit wait. So how can we avoid this? Okay, let's say I want to apply only wait for username, because most importantly, when you wait for a username in a page, if the username is visible, we can also safely assume the password and button is visible. Or maybe this is the element that is getting changed. Maybe when I clicked on login, maybe this is getting changed. Imagine something like that, some vague requirements like that. Okay, so only the username is causing problems. I want to apply only wait for the username, and I want to be more specific on how I have to wait. Okay, in those cases, there is something called as WebDriver wait class. Okay, so there is something called as WebDriver wait. So let me name it as wait equal to new WebDriver wait, and this accepts this constructor, this class in constructor accepts driver, and comma, what is the time? So it is, if you notice, it is telling you need to pass the driver and then the timeout in seconds. Okay, so maybe I'll give 10 seconds. Okay, good. Now we are done with this. Now we need to tell how we I should wait for the username. Okay, so we can tell wait dot until. Okay, you wait until what happens, until what happens, expected conditions. Okay, dot. So there are a lot of options here. Okay, you can wait until an alert comes. Suppose you want to wait for an alert to be displayed, then you can use this alert is present. Or you want to wait for the title is, okay, let's say in this page the title is basically orange HRM. So you want to wait till the title of this page is changed to orange HRM. or this, which basically implies if you're navigating from a different page to different page, you can wait for new page title, okay, using this alert, sorry, the title is, okay, and then you can pass the title. And then you can also wait for uh, an attribute to be contained. For example, let's say this particular element is having a lot of attributes. One is name, text username, id is this, type is text, okay. So you can wait for a particular attribute to be present, okay. We are not normally using all that, but most of the time we'll be using, let's say, presence of element located, okay. So this is a strategy most of the time we will use, so which means wait for the element to be present, okay. So you wait, okay, for a maximum of 10 seconds, okay, until you find this look element, okay. What is the element? Give me the by locator. So the by locator is this. So it will wait until it finding this particular element, okay. Good. Now I don't want to wait for the presence, because normally presence will be taken care. So uh, I have to wait for whether this element is clickable, because sometimes it will be present but it is not clickable. So I need to wait for clickability, whether I want to check for a clickability of the element, okay. See, now there is an option element to be clickable. There also you can pass by locator or the web element, okay. Now I'll use by locator, and then I can pass by dot xpath or whatever, and I can pass this, okay. As I mentioned, using a buy locator strategy is really beneficial, because you can use in these kind of waiting strategies as well. Okay, now a element to be clickable. So this will not only wait for the element to be present, but also will consider whether the element is clickable before making any interaction. Okay, now Mohan, you mentioned this Thread.sleep is a wait. Is a wait, and it has a lot of problems. So if you set maximum time as 10, if you find it in 2 minutes, 2 seconds, another 8 seconds also it will wait. But what about the implicit and explicit waits? Is both these waits are really smart. Okay, what they will do, it will have a maximum time of 10 seconds. Okay, every 500 milliseconds, it'll pull the DOM and check for the element presence. Okay, so that's the reason you can use either of these, but most people will use explicit wait, because you have the liberty to control what kind of waiting strategy you can apply. Here you cannot do all this. Here you can tell element to be clickable, okay. You can also tell text to be present on element, okay. You want a text to be present in a particular element, or you can tell invisibility of a element with text, okay. If there is an element with the text, you want that element to go away before doing your operation. Maybe there is a pop-up, maybe there is something else, okay. You want that to be go away before you do some operation with another element. So you can go through all these things and then you can use them. But most commonly we will use uh, clickability and presence of element locator. So these are the two things that we will use. Okay, so both these strategies will use 500 seconds, 500 ms as a polling time. So which means it will poll 20 seconds. So first it will poll on the 500 seconds, then it will poll on the first seconds, then 1.5 seconds it will poll again. It will check for the element present like this. Okay, 2 seconds it will poll, 2.5 seconds it will poll. So something like this until 10 seconds. Okay, if the element is found in the 2 seconds, it'll not do the remaining polling, it will come out. Okay, so that's the advantage of using explicit and implicit waits. But most probably people won't use implicit and explicit both in their code. Okay, if you club these two code, okay, the behavior, if I now we can clearly tell, first it will poll at the 500 seconds, then 500 milliseconds, then 1 second, then 1.5 second, right? But if you mix these two things, okay, the weights will get confused and they may poll at a different interval and they may poll out at the different value. So don't mix two implicit and explicit weights. Okay, it will cause problems. So just use explicit wait alone. So explicit wait will be applicable for only one element. Okay, so I want to wait for username, then you can wait for username alone. Okay, you don't have to wait for anything else. Okay, and suppose I don't need this for the password again, so no problem, you don't have to use it. Then we will use it for the let's say login button. Okay, hey Hamudan, then it is actually a problem, right? We are writing the same line of code everywhere. So no problem, guys. Normally we have created a method called as click, right? You will create a method called as click, and then if someone is passing me as a byte type, okay. So if you have a method like click, you can wait here, okay. So previously we were doing only driver dot. You, what I'm trying to say is you can create a wrapper methods and you can write all these logics there, okay. By element, by, so that's by whatever the by dot click. Previously we used like this. Now don't use like this. Just add the wait condition before it, okay. You can just tell new WebDriver wait driver comma 10 whatever, and you can also write it in the same line, that doesn't matter. You can also split it into two different lines, it's fine. So expected conditions dot presence of element located, okay. And then whatever the by you passed, this is fine, okay. So you can write like this. And if there are two lines, you can also write it in two different lines like this. And then this whole thing, okay, this whole thing, let's see what it is returning, okay. Let's say I'll put it as string a. It is clearly telling it there is an error. It is returning you a web element, okay. So let's change this to web element. So what this wait also does is it will wait for the elements, and then it will also return you the element, so you don't have to do the find element yourself, okay. So let's remove the find element, and then you can just tell a dot click, okay. Or you don't even have to declare this. You can, whatever the element they are passing, I'm really don't worry about it, okay. You can just mention click, okay. So first, what it will do, it will wait for maximum of 10 seconds, and it will poll every 0.5 seconds, and until when, until the expected conditions match. What is the expected condition? For the element of, sorry, the presence of element located, okay. So whatever the by strategy you pass, it will wait until that, and it will return you the web element. So we are clicking that web element once the wait is completed. So now with this one line of code, you don't have to repeat it everywhere. So you can remove all these things, okay. If you have to use it, you can just use click, and then you can pass the driver here, and you can pass by type. What is the by type? So this is the by type. So it will take care of everything. You don't have to worry about it. So it will take care of waiting for this element and clicking on it. The same way, if you want to apply this for other values, you can also do that. So you can remove this, click driver, and then you can copy this as well for the password, and then you can use it, okay. So yeah, so you can use like this, okay. Yeah, so that's all about it, guys, about the weights. Any doubts in this so far? Okay, uh good. Now we have seen about the weight. So in our framework creation, we will see more on it. We will not be using implicit weight. We will only use explicit weight. We'll also create different weighting strategies. We'll not only use one strategy. Based on the element, we will use different strategies. Okay. So we'll see how we can do that. But if you know how to use till here, that is really good. Now there is something called as headless browsers. Does anyone know about headless browsers? What is that? Anyone know about headless browsers?
No browser, it will run in command prompt only.
Mm-hmm.
Its execution is very fast.
Yes, execution is fast. What else?
Then you cannot see the browser, only it will be in the headless mode.
Yes. So let's say this, we have this test and we are trying to run it. So it is basically opening me the browser. You can see the execution, right? You can see the page is getting loaded, username is getting entered, and all that, right? Previously, the header, you know, maybe I'll stop this. Maybe I have applied the Thread.sleep for 10 seconds, so it was waiting. So I don't have to wait it. Let's remove all this. Okay. Yeah, let's come to what is headless. So previously developers, were using this headless process for their testing. Okay. The advantage of this headless process is you don't see the UI. You don't see the UI. See the UI. The problem with seeing the UI is, let's open a big website like Amazon. Okay, Amazon is a very big website, and it takes a lot of time to load. See, it is taking a lot of time to load. It has a lot of CSS. It has to load a lot of images. It has a lot of HTML elements, right? So basically, loading it may take a lot of time. Okay, if you are loading this Amazon without these images, with only the text, okay, with only the text, not the images, okay, then it will load much quickly, right? So these people are actually using it for their benefit. So if they want to do some unit test, they use a headless browser, which means it doesn't open, it doesn't show the UI, but the test still execute without the CSS and images. Okay, no CSS, no images will be displayed, no CSS will be there. Okay, so if you want to use that kind of thing for your testing, then Selenium also having an option for that. So what you can basically do is you can basically create an Chrome options. There is one class called as Chrome options, and you can create an object for this. Once you create an option object for this, then you can just tell add arguments. Okay, add arguments. What do you want to do? You want to do headless testing, right? Hyphen headless. Once you're done with this, you just need to pass, hey, by default it will open, open Chrome, okay, as an incognito window or all that, right? If you want to customize this, okay, you have to use Chrome options class. Okay, previously there was decide capabilities, now we are only using Chrome options, okay, from the early version. So it's okay to just learn about Chrome options. So if you tell, hey, instead of opening Chrome by your wish, don't open it like that. I want you to open it in the open customized way. Okay, this is what is your customized way. We are telling, hey, for me, I want to add the argument of headless, which means I want to open without opening the browser, I want to do it. Okay, let's see how it is running. Okay, that's it, guys. So you have to declare what is the customized version of your Chrome, and then you need to pass it to the Chrome driver. Okay, as I mentioned, Chrome driver is a constructor. This is a overloaded constructor. So if you go here, so if you notice, there is a constructor that takes in Chrome options. Okay, if you pass Chrome options, it will take it and it will use it for their internal thing. You can also pass capabilities, you can also pass Chrome driver service, Chrome option, but you're not normally using them. So just Chrome options is more than enough for us. Let's go back. Let's try to check what is happening now. What happened, guys? So we are basically getting the stuff, right? We are getting, we are seeing the test is getting executed, but you didn't see any execution. Okay, so that's called as headless testing. So you will not see anything in it. Okay, so why I covered this, you don't have to really use the headless testing, but if someone is asking you in an interview, you should be in a position to tell headless means without UI. Why they are people using it? Because people are using it properly, developers are using it because they want to test their application without CSS and HTML, so it can be faster, right? So this headless testing will be faster, but they are not very quick. Okay, most of the application nowadays are very smart. They use caches and cookies and all that, so you will not save a lot of time with the headless testing. But if someone is asking you in an interview, just make sure that you are explaining it in the right way. Okay, so you don't have to really use the headless testing yourself because you might not know what is happening. Okay, so it's better use the UI with head mode only. Okay, you will not save a lot of time. If you notice, this test will also take almost same time as the previous ones. Okay, so you will not save huge amount of time. So yeah, nowadays the websites are really smart. So if somebody is asking, you should be in a position to explain. So we are done with there is not only this, right? So only not only headless, there are other options as well. So suppose you want to accept random pop-up, then you can also mention options dot, okay, add arguments, and then you can pass other arguments as well. So let's say disable pop-up, something like this, okay. But even I'm not sure, guys, I'm not sure what is the exact words. Okay, if you have a requirement, you can just Google and then you can get, okay. So yeah, something, if you add like this, it will maybe disable a lot of unwanted pop-ups that comes in between. So yeah, there are other use cases as well. If you want, you can use them, but you know, just know there is a class called Chromeoptions that will help you to customize the Chrome, okay. Chrome, whatever the Chrome you are opening. So to do that, you have to use Chrome options. Yes, I think we have covered almost whatever we want to cover. We need to cover Docker. uh, So, how many of you know or have heard about what is Docker?
Ankush, I know little bit about Docker.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
yeah. So you know about Docker. Can you brief in few words what is Docker and why you use it?
Sure, Amuthan. Amuthan, what I worked on Docker is like Docker will is a completely a different like lightweight operating system which you will get. Like it will be a virtual in your right now. Earlier we used to have remote machines in which we used to run our test cases, but now Docker enabled us like it will give you very light operating system where you can distribute your test cases. Not even test cases. Right now I'm talking about Selenium running the test cases.
Yeah,
Okay,
you can
and
speak in the Selenium perspective itself. Yeah.
okay, so we can run our test cases in those
Mhm.
Docker. Like might be the Docker you have downloaded, it will have Linux operating system, and it will have the drivers like Chrome drivers. Automatically, you will get it from the Docker hub.
Okay.
And similarly, another Docker you can have another
Yeah.
different browsers, and you can distribute your machines. But what I actually worked on it, like we created Docker for our email, like we created image of our that framework. We have
Okay.
written complete 7 8 lines of code,
Okay.
complete
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Docker
line.
file. You have created
Yes,
Docker
yes,
file,
correct.
and
We
then
created Docker file and we published it to the artifactory of GitLab. We are using the GitLab artifactory.
good, coach. Okay, no problem. So I think you have done reasonably well. Yeah. So anyways, as Prince also mentioned, so there are little advantages of using Docker. Okay, everything whatever I teach, right? I see a problem with the current thing, and then we are moving to the new ones, right? So everything. So we started to use owner library because we had some problems with the normal way of reading property file. We started to learn about explicit way because there is a problem with the Thread.sleep what we are using. We started to use explicit way because there is a problem with the implicit weight. So yeah, so everything has its own use and advantage. Okay, because there is some problem, we are moving to another. In those words, you may ask, what is the current problem now? We are able to launch the browsers. We can able to launch Chrome. We can able to launch Firefox. We can able to work with any other browsers. We can run the test in parallel. Now we are running the test in parallel, right? This data provider test is running in parallel. There are 3 tests in parallel. You can also increase the thread count. So what is the problem? Then everything is going fine. What is your problem? So now what is the problem is, I have a Chrome machine, okay, Chrome browser that's of version 96. Okay, but my let's say my manager comes and tells me, hey Amudan, you have to verify Chrome in version from 88 to 96. You need to verify in all these browsers, and also Firefox from some 78 to 85. Okay, you need to verify in 20 browsers. The same testing you have to do in 20 browsers. Okay, imagine that you are doing some manual testing. How will you do this? Okay, very difficult, right? So that's why they go for automation, right? In automation also, how will you do this? Okay, I cannot install a new Chrome browser in my machine. Okay, let's say I work in a team and there is a team of 3 members. Okay, then I can ask one more guy, hey, you install 85 or 95. Another guy I can ask 94. But what about the remaining versions of Chrome? Where will we test it? Do we go to other team members in our project, maybe in different project, and then we will request them? No, that's not going to happen, right? You cannot have different versions of Chrome. It's maintaining them is really difficult. Okay, so how will you do this then? Okay, there are service providers. Okay, for example, there is something called as browser stack. Okay, so this guy, they can actually offer you basically a lot of browsers at the place. Okay, they can. So guys, if you notice, browser stack is a cloud provider. They give you a lot of advantages. Okay, maybe they'll have host of devices with them. Okay, host of browsers. If you notice, they have configure the browser. So first, whatever the browser you want, you can decide here. Okay, so look at this. If you want a Windows operating system with all any of these browsers, okay, they have browsers from almost Chrome 37 also. So they have all these things. So if I want to test my application in Chrome 37, I have the liberty to do it because they have maintained all these browsers in some machines and they are giving it us. But these guys attracts a lot of cost. Okay, so you have to spend your money to execute your tests there. So it's really it's okay if your company is having budget, you want to test it, you can really use these browser stack. There are a lot of other solutions like browser stack. We have SaaS labs, we have other cloud providers as well. But the problem is they all attract cost. If you cannot do this, if you cannot afford for these costs, then what is the thing that we can do? We can do using Docker. Okay, so what is the problem statement? Multiple browsers, you want to test it on multiple browsers, multiple different versions, and most importantly, sometimes a test will run in your machine but it is not running in their machine, and all that problem will happen. So we want to have a dedicated system where we can run the test. Okay, you can imagine Docker as a another system. Okay, so yeah, these are the two problems we are trying to solve with the Docker. So yeah, let's get started. To use Docker, you need to basically download Docker desktop for your machine. Okay, Docker desktop for Windows 10. So I use Windows 10, so I can go here. Okay, I can click on this Docker desktop and then it will get installed automatically, guys. Very, very simple. It's a exe file. You download this exe file and then you double click on it. You tell yes for everything and then it will get installed. Okay, once this is getting installed, you can basically open your command prompt and then you can tell Docker or Docker. If you tell Docker, it should recognize. Okay, it should throw you some kind of messages like this. Okay, Docker options command and all that. If you tell Docker is not recognized as an internal or external command, then the Docker is not installed correctly. Okay, so please try to install Docker. Okay, if you face any issues, let me know. I'll be here to help. I also have video in my YouTube channel on how to install Docker. It's a very simple installation process and I don't think I have to explain it again. Okay, good. But first let's understand what else we can do with Docker. Okay, so maybe I'll give a small example on how this looks. Okay, let's assume now I have a laptop sitting here. Okay, so this is a Windows machine. Okay, this is my laptop, right? So this is basically Win 10. Okay, Win 10, and I have Chrome 96. Selenium also supports you to run your test on different machine, not only your machine. You can basically run it on, let's say I want to run it on Kalay's machine. Okay, Kalay machine is sitting in somewhere in the US. If I want to run it on that machine, I can also do it. Okay, let's say you set up something here and then you use remote WebDriver and you can run it there. But the problem is there are a lot of setup involved. You need to do a lot of things and all that. So this is not really going to work out. Okay, so in those cases only what you can do, you install the Docker software. Now on top of my laptop, I installed a Docker software. Okay, I installed a Docker software. Using this Docker software, you can create multiple containers. Okay, something like this. You can create a lot of laptops inside your own laptop. Imagine like this. Okay, guys, don't really take my words seriously, but just to understand more clearly, I'm just giving you an example. You are going to create a lot of laptops inside your laptops. Okay, this may not be the right exact meaning, but still it will still make you understand. Okay, so we're going to have a lot of laptops inside our laptops, which means Each of these laptops is now called as a container. Okay, this is C1, this is C2, this is C3. Okay, so each of these laptops will hold only one thing. Okay, like in my laptop, I have a lot of things. I have IntelliJ, I have Zoom, I have Chrome, I have a lot of things. I have Firefox, everything I have. But these laptops are not like that. Okay, they are really small. Okay, they can hold only one thing. Let's assume in our test automation perspective, I'm going to store only Chrome here. This laptop is going to hold only Chrome 95. Okay, then C2 and C3 will hold only Firefox of 85 version. Okay, only that. The same way, some browser in the C2. Okay, now once you create something like this, okay, we're going to create something like this. Okay, we're going to have a container, which is we're going to have a small laptop that is running only the Chrome. Then what we will do, instead of running our test in our laptop, we are going to run the test in this laptop. We are going to delegate to this. Okay, if you want to run something in the Edge browser, we will delegate this. If you want to run something in the Firefox, we're going to delegate. But this becomes really complex, to manage different containers. So we will create one more container, which is hub container. Okay, we'll create one more container called as hub container. Okay, let's say this is a hub. Okay, then what we will do, so let's say you have three fishes. Managing them is really difficult for you. What you will do, you will allocate a team lead and then you will give all the work to the team lead. Okay, that's what we are going to do. We will allocate this to the hub guy. Now the hub guy will allocate to C1, will allocate to C2, will allocate to C3. Okay, so you don't have to directly allocate to them. Okay, you can basically allocate to the hub. Hub will delegate to the C1, C2, C3. This we call it a Selenium hub. Okay, okay. So this is what the setup we are going to do, but we will do it tomorrow. We are not going to do it today. So the advantage we are going to get is we're going to run our test on different browsers without spending any extra infrastructure cost. Okay, we're going to run small laptops within our own laptop. So imagine something like this. Again, you all have known about virtualization, right? Um, you know, virtualization in the sense, let's say you have softwares like VMware. Okay, what it helps you to do. Suppose I want to run one more laptop. Let's say I want to use Mac OS. Okay, I don't have to purchase a new machine. I can run another Mac machine inside this machine itself using the VMware software, but I have to pay the license and all that. That's a different thing. But you can have the capability to split your system. Let's say my system is, let's say, 16 GB of RAM. Okay, and then it's of 1 TB hard disk or whatever. Okay, something like this. Now I want, this is only Windows, right? This is only Windows. I want to split it into two machine. Let's say one Windows, one is Mac OS and one is Linux. I also can run a Linux OS here. So I will allocate 8 GB for the Mac, sorry, the Windows. This is Windows. Then you can also create one more Mac for 4 GB, and then you can also have an Ubuntu OS for another 4 GB. Okay, so you can use virtualization softwares like VMware, and then you can basically do all these things. Okay, virtualization. But the virtualization, the problem is your 16 GB you have to split it. Okay, whether you are using this Mac or not. Okay, whether you are using this Linux or not, the memory is allocated to this. As long as this is running, you cannot utilize those resources into the Windows. Okay, but containers are not like that. Okay, so switching on a virtualization machine is very difficult, but container is very easy. You can imagine, let's say you want to rent a home in a different place. I am in Chennai, I want to rent a place in Bangalore. Very difficult, right? Renting a house, you need to go rent a house. Means you need to see the house, you need to make an agreement, you need to pay them advance and all the very difficult task. Okay, but let's say you want to rent a PG is very easy. So you go there, you tell them I'll be here 1 month. Okay, take this 5,000. Don't disturb me. That's it. They will have everything ready for you. They will have TV. They'll have food for you, and then Wi-Fi in place. You have washing machine. Everything is set, right? The same way, containers are really smart. Okay, so these containers will have only Chrome. Okay, whatever you need, just need. Okay, I need only Chrome 95. It will only have that. Okay, and it will not occupy a lot of memory. Okay, this will run as a processes. Okay, so yeah, that's the advantage of using Docker. We're going to set up this whole thing and then we will use it from tomorrow. Not tomorrow. We'll have a break, maybe from Friday. Okay. Any doubts in this so far?
Amuthan, I have, but not with this. I have issue in the doubt with the headless browser.
Okay.
Amuthan, like in the Chrome driver, just we pass the Chrome created the object of Chrome option and we pass the argument headless.
Yeah.
But what is this then HTML unit driver? Then like I'm confused here. HTML unit driver.
HTML unit driver is again another. Unit drivers are basically your headless process. Okay. Those are explicitly unit process. Okay. You cannot run with UI. You cannot run a HTML unit driver with a UI. Okay. You cannot do that. But in case of Chrome, you can run it in head mode. You can run it in headless modes. But these HTML unit drivers are predominantly used by developers in order to run their unit test. Okay.
Okay.
But now there was previous case. Okay. Now the big shots like Chrome, Firefox, they all support headless browsing. So you don't need a dedicated HTML unit driver.
Unit driver. Okay, HTML unit driver earlier we used to use,
Yeah.
but now
You don't have to use that anymore, because see, Chrome is more used in the real time world. So if you are running or test on HTML unit driver, you are not sure whether this will work in a real time Chrome. Okay. So always run your test in a Chrome with head mode. Headless is okay, but why do you want to do headless? It will save small amount of time. Maybe if the test is taking 50 seconds, it may take 48 seconds. Okay. But you know what you are going to do with the 2 seconds. Okay. So always run it in head mode. That is the most preferred way of doing it. But you also need to know what is headless. Okay. So
and
that's the
suppose
reason.
Amuthan, if you are running your test cases in the Jenkins,
Okay.
so are the test cases are running head mode only there also?
See,
Because we only see the console output, like what it is, like whatever the action is happening, but we don't see the browsers.
Jenkins can only schedule jobs. Okay. Where the browser is running, it will be run, in a different machine. Okay. That's why you are not seeing that. Okay.
Node
Jenkins
machine.
cannot run a test. Okay. Jenkins, maybe there is a Jenkins node that can execute a test. Jenkins node is basically a machine. Okay. It's another machine. Okay. You don't have to worry about it for now. We'll come to Jenkins. We'll speak about what is Jenkins node, what is Jenkins master, and all that. So take a break now. So
Sure.
if you're understanding till here, that's much good.
Okay. Thank you, Amuthan.
Yeah.
So Muthan, that means if for this headless browser, right, if we are going to execute, so then there can be no screenshots can be taken, right? Or in
Screenshots
the
can
back.
be taken.
Okay, okay.
Maybe you try it.
It's
Maybe you
okay.
try it and let me know whether you could be able to take screenshots. That's your assignments, guys.
Okay.
Okay, because I normally don't use headless. Okay, but you can take screenshots, that I know. Yeah, maybe you can try it and let me know.
Yeah, sure, Muthan.
Yeah. Okay, we will stop the recording.